subscribe, hit that notification button. Don't forget to share this video with your fellow veterans. Good evening, everyone. Name is Dwayne Kimball, owner and founder of CAMD89 VA Claims Consulting, Leave No Vet Behind, and also I'm a United States Army veteran. Thank you for joining in this evening. I don't know how long I will be on. I'm in Tampa, Florida, so we've already lost power and it came back on once, but I'll just go ahead and get to it, get to all the Q&A sessions. So we're doing pretty good. The hurricane hit a little bit further south. So somebody can let me know if you can hear me just fine, because I had to reboot my computer like literally 2 minutes ago. So I want to make sure everybody can hear me. Okay. So with that being said, just want to let everybody know, the quick disclaimer, this Q&A session is for educational, informational purposes only. As in some of my videos, I always encourage veterans to continue to go out and get educated on the VA claims process, because as we all know, things do change and can change rapidly with the VA. All right. So with that being said, okay, can hear me fine. All right. Hey, I appreciate that, Annette. Yeah, I just had to redo my lighting. And I tell you, it got kind of crazy here for a second. Okay. All right. But I'm back. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into the Q&A. Man, I had to put my glasses on. I tell you, I was rushing here. I apologize. All right, so our first question for the night, Mr. Hernandez. Good afternoon, sir. Good evening. I already have 100% PNT. I'm having a total hip replacement that is service connected. Does my rating get affected? No, unless you want to file a claim, then that could affect the hip. Meaning, once you have a total hip replacement, then that percentage for that particular service connected hip will change, go up. I mean, okay. Do I have to make a new claim after the surgery? Yes, because the VA will not automatically know that you had surgery for that service connected condition. All right. Sorry, I put my phone back on charge and want to make sure it's always charged up. All right. So, Mr. Hernandez, let me know if that answered your question, sir. All right, Carlos, hi from Puerto Rico. Hey, hope all is well. I've been waiting for more than 60 days for a rating. Is that normal? Yes. There's no set times for when claims will be done. Okay, so if anybody ever tells you, oh, it will be done in 30 days, that's just not true. There's no set wait time. I have clients that have been waiting 2 or 3 months, or even longer than 60 days. Okay. Annette, how you doing, Annette? Good evening, Dwayne. Hope you and the family are being safe in Florida with the hurricane. Yes, yesterday we put up shutters on the home, and my son came down. He helped me out. Took us roughly about 4 hours to do it because we had to lug panels up to the second story and get that done. But right now I can hear the wind picking up outside. But it's right now just got a wind, and a little rain is just the wind that's affecting us right now. But the hurricane is on shore. It's just south of Tampa. It's moving this way, sort of like northeast. Okay. So again, if I lose power, I will not be coming back on because it's going to take me time to reboot my computer. Okay. So I want to make sure I get through many questions as I can. But thank you, Annette. I do have a question. I received denials for my 6 recent claims. The findings were favorable to have happened in service and a disability, but they were denied. Is the next step supplemental claim? So Annette, I think when you sent me that email about who can complete a DBQ, so the question is, do you have a copy of the CMP exam? Okay, because if you went to the CMP exam, it's not the rater telling you no, it's the CMP examiner. So you would want to see exactly why that examiner said no. And you can actually, if you look in the rating decision in the narrative for each one of those conditions, then they should have a medical opinion and rationale and that could help there. But give me a call. We may have to, do some things and see where you at with that. All right. Thanks, Annette. Thanks for the super sticker and all the donation, but more so the support. All right. All right, Snowman. Hey, Dwayne, won't be able to catch the live, but I have an update on the VA-120-10207 to expedite claims. I strongly recommend everyone to look into it before they submit their claim. Okay. All right. So I'm going to have to check that out, Snowman. I mailed my claim off September 13th, and my first CMP is tomorrow. Okay, so 28th. And the second is October 24th. The super quick, that's super quick because I was able to use the expedited form, wish me luck with these two claims and can take me to 100%. Okay, so just keep in mind, everyone, I did a video earlier this year, January, and was talking about direct upload, where the claim you can go and submit your claim electronically, and it goes straight to the VA. Then I did one to follow up the quick submit. Okay, so when veterans and even some of my clients use this process, they get called for a CMP exam relatively quick. It's not a long wait time. Normally, what I've been seeing averaging about 2 weeks. Okay, but it could be different for everyone. All right. Okay. Good luck, Snowman, on the claims. Yep. Good luck. Gator fan. Hello from Tallahassee. Thanks for all the help and learning and passing knowledge I learned to others. Hey, I really appreciate that. It's my passion to do this. Reached out to another YouTuber earlier today, and we're going to try and set something up, do a collaboration, get her feedback on some of these questions as well. All right. All right. Good evening, sir. Most definitely, Jimmy. We're doing that. Like I said, we're hunkered down, got all the patio furniture in, and all our shutters up. How many times do I need a consult appointment with a specialist to begin to use that as an FDC? Is it one time, two times? I'm not really understanding that question. An FDC claim, and I'm gonna do a video on this because a lot of people are getting confused about what FDC claims are. All right. Now, when FDC claims came out, yeah, when they first came out, those claims were getting worked rapidly, fast, but that's been on a decline. Okay. So now they're just rating if the veteran has all the information, they're getting a rating decision, whether it's a FDC claim or standard claim. If that information is good to go and they're ready and they can make a decision, what I've been seeing, they've been making those decisions pretty fast. So it doesn't really matter. I don't think if it's an FDC claim. I had clients that submit an FDC claim and they didn't get a decision for like 4, 5, 6 months. Other clients did a standard claim, submitted some evidence a couple of weeks later, which was actionable DBQ and nexus, and those claims got rated first. Okay, so don't get confused about thinking the FDC is like the holy grail or something like that. All right, years ago when it first came out, yeah. Okay, all right. Coming in from I can't pronounce that, but Michigan. All right, Eric, stay safe. Will do. Bro, bro, man. All right, bro, man. D. Smith, loud and clear. I appreciate that. I was having some technical difficulties right before I came on because power was knocked out, but we're good to go now. So I'm just going to stay on as long as the power stays on. Well, at least, for the next hour. Okay, just fine. Appreciate it. All right, Brooks, Angela Nelson. All right, appreciate it. All right, we got Vegas. Hey, how you doing, George? Call and pair. Okay, all right. Want to get some of these questions. Can you explain to us what a deferred claim is? Actually, George, I got it. That's my next video that's coming out next week. But a deferred is just they had to do something. They were able to rate and grant some other benefits, but it could be deferred for many issues, further development, medical exams, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's many different reasons why it could be deferred, but that means that they were able to adjudicate some claims, but not um, the one claim that they couldn't adjudicate, so they had to defer the issue. Okay. If I had a CMP exam with QTC, why would the VA send me for another one with the VA? That's hard to say. I've been seeing that a lot this year, um, and I wouldn't know that. Only person that would know that is the one that requested the exam. But keep in mind, VA is doing a lot of hiring, and I think the training is different now from when I was there. When I was there, we were in training like probably about not quite 6 months, but about 4 months, and it was classroom training, hands on. And I don't think, especially during last couple of years with COVID, a lot of it was done online. And you just don't have that one-on-one action, one-on-one interaction with the trainers. So I've been seeing that a lot, and actually some that happened to some clients, and it looks like the person that requested the second exam didn't scroll all the way down to see if there was a first exam, and they requested another one. But we didn't know that until the veteran got a copy of the claims file, and when we reviewed that, that's exactly what happened. The person that requested the second exam didn't scroll down far enough and look at the previous exam that the veteran had attended, CMP exam. And the exams were like within 2 or 3 months of each other. And the previous exam that was in there was good to go. They could have used it. There was nothing wrong with it because we saw it. Now, I'm not saying that happened to you. That could be possibly one of the reasons. Okay. Has the VA changed the age requirement on school attendance dependents from 24 to under 23? My question to you, Valerie, if you're 100% permanent total, did you call the 800 number in the notification letter of the packet that you received granting the Chapter 35? Because the VA is comprised of many sections. So we'll just take VBA. VBA, you got voc rehab, you got loan guarantee, you have the education, and then you have the benefits, a compensation, pension, and benefits. Okay, and that's mainly what I talk about, just the compensation and pension part. The education is a different department. I haven't heard it, but if you're PNT, there's an 800 number to the VA education department. Call them and just ask that particular question, because I haven't called them to see, or I haven't even heard if they have. Okay. Waiting for a hearing. Is there a way to tell my spot on the docket? No. Well, there is, but don't be fooled if you call the National Call Center. Don't be fooled. Okay. They're not going to know. They could look it up probably. Well, they can't. I don't think they can. That's kind of hard. There are people that schedule those to be put on the docket. And unless you know somebody that works in appeals that can tell you that question, answer that question, it's probably the only way. Did you see the press conference? No, Charles. Press conference on what topic? Finally made it past 50%, and CDRP kicked in. Good for you, sir. Will I get back pay check from VA and DFAS, or is the back pay combined from? I don't know if you will from DFAS. I never worked for DFAS, never dealt with DFAS. Now, as it pertains to back pay, look at the effective date. Okay, but if I think the requirement for CDRP, you have to be 50%. So it probably go back to the effective date when you received that 50%. I don't think it will go all the way back when you were 30 or 20%. But as it pertains to DFAS, bro, man, did you call DFAS and ask him that question? How often does VA audit 100% PNT, if at all? They don't. And I think that's a big myth here on YouTube, where if you don't continue to get treatment or this, they're going to go back and take your benefits. I rated for years, and I rated hundreds of claims. At no time did management or anybody say, hey, for the next 30 days, we want you to go back and audit all these claims that of veterans that are 100% P&T to one, see if they continue to get treatment, or just to audit the claim. No. And someone tells you that, ask them what regulation that requires VA employees to do that, for the VA to do it. Now, it could be something if you came in for a new claim or something, they're still not going to go back and look at every single thing. If that claim folder is 20 volumes long, or 10,000 pages in there, no, they're not going to go back and look at anything. Now, it's a possibility they could, depending on what you claim and if it's going to affect something else, possibly, but 9 times out of 10, no. Jeremy, I really appreciate your content and videos. Thank you, sir. They have really helped me. Why does VA lump claims together even though they were filed separately on different dates? I'm sorry, my Alexa. Why does VA lump claims together even though they were filed separately on different dates, months? Once I'm 100%, how can I become P&T? I'm sorry, my everything rebooted, and now Alexa off. I'm sorry, I hate to be rude. Okay, so it just depends, Jeremy. If obviously each claim is handled by EP, so veterans can have claims. They claim for increase or secondary conditions, and then they can have a supplemental claim in. And I've seen veterans have an appeal, high level review, at all 3 stages. Okay, and they're all running at the same time. But there are particular situations, So if you have something on appeal, or you've refiled a claim that's on appeal, then the rating activity cannot take issue with that because it falls under the jurisdiction of the appeal / high level review. Okay, so I have seen them lump things together, and that's not illegal. They can do that. And actually, sometimes when I used to rate, that would help get the veteran get an answer quickly, especially if they're able to grant something and then defer some other issues. Okay, now 100%. They would have to determine if all those conditions are static. And then if they are, then they'll grant what they call Chapter 35, which is permanent and total. I request the C&P exam by FOIA. Okay. Can you request your claims filed more than once? Yes. I got 0% for allergies. Should I appeal? Understand, everyone. I did a series. I almost have 200 videos on my channel. And some of the videos are from 2 years ago. They're still good information. Okay. Some of the stuff is outdated, if we talk about a long discharge and stuff like that. But one thing that I try and educate people on is just the process. Okay. So in this instance, 0% for allergies. What would you be appealing? The effective date, the percentage you receive. In the rating decision, it tells you why they granted 0%. Also, in the rating decision, they tell you why they did not grant the 10%. Okay. So if it's the percentage that you think that you should be, if you think the percentage is incorrect, then the next question is, do you have a copy of the C&P exam? Do you know what the 10% criteria is for, I'm assuming that's allergic rhinitis or chronic sinusitis, okay? Do you know the criteria for the next higher percentage? If you feel that you meet that criteria, do you have a copy of the C&P exam to see what the doctor checked? Because if the doctor only checks certain boxes and you're 0%, do you have evidence that was in your claims file at the time it was adjudicated that meets the criteria for the next higher percentage? If you don't, how are you going to win that appeal? If you do, what are you arguing on appeal? Especially if there's evidence in your claims file, okay? So just keep that in mind. They finally rated my dad at 40%, but deferred his other claim. So in that rating decision, they should say why they deferred it. And I'm gonna have a video coming out next week that's definitely gonna hit home, Joy. So definitely take a look at that. because in there I'm talking about deferred issues, some of the where you find the deferred issue in the rating decision, what it looks like, and stuff like that. When I rate it, I always used to try to tell the veteran why I was deferring that particular issue. Deferring low back condition to obtain a VA CMP exam to include the medical opinion and rationale. I wouldn't just say VA examination, because a lot of times people would miss uh, scheduling a particular CMP exam. So when all those exams came back, it's like, oh, wait a minute, the veteran wants a CMP exam for another condition. So then they would go ahead and rate, if everything was a grant, you could go ahead and grant everything. If some things were denial, then you deny those as long as you can grant something, and then you would defer that issue. Okay, Stephen Williams, I have been struggling with getting CMP from being in the blue water, Vietnam, been through prostate cancer and a heart valve. So if you were blue water, there is criteria on that. Okay. I had a client, he was on a ship the entire time, didn't go ashore, and they denied him. But then when they came out with blue water, he was able to get granted. And here's how. He had the name of the ship. He Googled it, and they gave him like the location that they were offshore. And he said the guns on that ship had a 10-mile range. So for blue water, it has to be within 12 nautical miles of the shore of Vietnam. And I think Cambodia, they have like longitude and latitude. Okay. So that's one way. One of our clients, he informed us, he was like, hey, here's the ship. I Google it. And the guns, it talked about the guns on the ship, and they only had a 10-mile radius. And that's what he used. And the VA researched it. Excuse me. And they agreed. And that's how he got service connected. It's that time. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're in the end zone. Came ashore about an hour south of us, but I can hear that wind out there is picking up. Also, can CMP examiner change opinion prior CMP exam for painful scar? I never said it stopped hurting. It hurts often and when touched. Did new CMP exam for painful scar with same examiner. Did you get a copy of the CMP exam? Now, I will say this. If I was still doing my claim and I did another CMP exam and I had to go back a second time, or went in there with the same doctor, and that doctor didn't mark down that my scar was painful, I wouldn't even see that doctor. That's me. I'm not saying you should, but if you did, I would have a copy of that previous CMP exam. Be like, doc, why did you check no that it's not painful? Put them on the spot. That happened to me, and I put the doctor on the spot. I'm like, look, on this exam, I got it. The doctor said, they asked me, was the scar painful? And I told them, no, that's a lie. I told her it was a different examiner, but I told him that is a flat out lie. I said the scar is painful. So throughout that exam, I kept saying, do you understand the scar is painful? Do you understand the scar is painful? Okay. Phil, hello, Dwayne. I'm new to the claims process. Is it unheard of to have a CMP exam for a presumptive illness, sinusitis, Gulf War? I have one scheduled this coming Monday. Yes. It's not uncommon. No, it's not uncommon because they have to ask questions. What are your residuals? So, Phil, I would say, have you looked over that sinusitis DBQ? Have you looked at the criteria, diagnostic code criteria for sinusitis? Do you feel your symptoms fall under the 0, the 10, 30, 40, whatever percentage you can get for chronic sinusitis? That's what a lot of the veterans miss. They run to that CMP exam and they just start talking. They never looked at the DBQ, what the information is on the DBQ. They never, not saying you did this, Mr. Morris, but they didn't look at the DBQ. They didn't look at the diagnostic general rating criteria for sinusitis. They didn't look at that criteria to see where they fall. So if you look at it, that diagnostic code criteria and that DBQ, when you go in there, you know exactly, okay, my symptoms fall within the 30% range. And then you can relate that relay that. I'm sorry, you can articulate that to that examiner. Now, it's not guaranteed because some examiners get lazy. They don't check stuff. They don't check things down. But again, you got to hold that CMP examiner accountable. A lot of people come back and they ask me, and I'm like, well, I'm the wrong person to ask. You got to ask, did you ask the CMP examiner? And they say, oh, the exam was only 5 minutes long. They didn't hardly ask me any questions. So you went in there unprepared, not saying you, Mr. Morris. I'm going to take that off. But I just want to make sure that you understand that there are some things that you could be doing now before you even get to the CMP exam. Okay. So when veterans tell me, oh, the exam was only 2 or 3 minutes long, I'm like, well, you were unprepared. And they're like, no, yeah, you were. Because if you had that DBQ in front of you and the doctor asked, hey, well, is there anything else you'd like to add? Yeah, we need to go over this exam. I got the DBQ in front of me. So can we go line by line, question by question? Now, a lot of people may say, I've had people tell me, oh, you were just being difficult. This is your claim. Okay. So if holding their feet to the fire to follow their guidelines, then guess what? I'm going to be difficult. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to be difficult because it may hurt their feelings or they may not write something down. Then that's fine, because if they don't, you got options. Okay. But I'm just saying what I would do, but that gives you something to think about when you go into before you go into these CMP exams. But good luck, Mr. Morris, with that CMP exam. Make sure you get educated on the diagnostic code for the conditions that you got the CMP exam for. Does ED secondary to PTSD need a nexus? Yes. All secondary conditions need a nexus, except, and I would say, Mr. Jolly Green, I just did a video on that. What conditions you can, you don't even have to claim, but what conditions that you can get service connected for without a nexus. I did a video on it. Go to my channel, check it out. Okay. Now I only use a couple examples, but those were the main ones. Okay. But like ED, secondary PTSD, yes, you're going to need a nexus. All right, Bobby West from Killeen, Texas. Also, are you familiar with Whitewater Registered? No. Is that, let me know a little bit about it, Stephen Williams. How do I obtain a nexus letter? Doctor. Okay, you need a DBQ too. Don't forget, a lot of veterans, they say, oh, I got a nexus statement. What about the DBQ? Oh, I didn't know I needed one. Yeah. How are they going to know what the residuals are? Okay. So, Mr. West, if you need DBQ and Nexus, schedule a consult with me, and I can talk through that with you or give you some options. M. Sway, do I need to see a doctor on consult once or more to submit? I didn't. When I filed my first claim, a lot of people say, "Oh, you got to go do this. You got to go do this. You got to get that." You know, when you understand the process, let's just say you're claiming stuff, uh, conditions, direct service connection. There's nothing saying you have to go have been seen multiple times. The criteria for direct service connection: current diagnosis, a link in service, meaning you have to have been treated, have a treatment, complaint, diagnosed injury or disease while on active duty, and then a nexus. Okay, so let's just say a veteran claiming back condition. They don't have a current diagnosis. They need one, right? And the veteran goes to their local urgent care, which I did a video on going using urgent care if you're registered with the VA, and that's free. Okay, so you go to urgent care and you complain about low back pain. That's a claim that you want to. That's the condition you're claiming: low back pain. You already got a link in service because it's documented in service. Just giving you an example. That gets you to the CMP exam. The doctor has to give a nexus, say, yes, it is due to service, or it's not. That's simple. You don't have to keep going back and forth. Now, some examiners may look at that and say, oh, you hadn't gotten treatment, chronicity, and all this other stuff. One thing I tell doctors, and I had to tell my CMP, I'm not my CMP, but my VA primary care. Look, I'm not going to be running up here to the VA every single week, every time something hurts. Okay. I'm not that guy. If I got a knee pain, I might put some ice on it, stay off of it. And even when I went to my CMP exams, they were like, "Oh, you were only seen in service a couple of times." I'm like, "Look, if I did that, I wouldn't even be a soldier because I'd be on sick call every day, all day, every time something hurt." Some doctors get it, some don't. But as veterans, we got to understand, we got to explain it to them. Okay. Okay. D Galls, SMCT. I was denied supplemental claim for SMCT. I'm already SMCL and a half TBI 100%. Well, ID explosion in which I was in coma 3 weeks. File high level review recently. Is this just opinion of different rate? I don't know. Yeah, truly, I don't know. The reason why, when I get questions like this, I had uh, Q&A yesterday, and just small group for people to ask questions, because this is something I could have really went in depth with for a couple of minutes, but information has to be reviewed. Okay, we can say I can say what I think, what could have, but that's not going to help you. Again, have you submitted that FOIA request to get a copy of the rating decisions? Already should have the rating decision, but what else is in that file? Did you get a CMP exam? Do you have a copy of that? What was said? So more information is needed. We have to review the claim form. We have to review the CMP exam if you had one. Have to review anything else in that file to see what happened. So it could have been different opinion of a different rater, but won't know that until after that information has been reviewed. Okay, Francine, I have a CMP exam on Tuesday, and and I'm extremely nervous. Is it possible to get 100% for rheumatoid arthritis? Not alone. Okay. I think even if you had rheumatoid arthritis of the ankles, the knees, hips, back, neck, shoulders, elbows, and wrists, I don't think that'll quite get. I would have to pull up in a calculator. But again, um, Francine, what are you claiming? Have you looked over the DBQ? Have you looked at the diagnostic code criteria? Have you looked in a rating schedule to see what how the VA defines rheumatoid arthritis? All that information is there. Okay, so in these smaller groups, what I'm trying to do is get five or six people, and then I can pull up the rating scheduler, and show you my screen and give you a detailed answer. Okay, but in this setting, can't do it because I have a lot of I got multiple questions. But if that's I'll ask everyone if there's something that you would want me to do once a month, where it's like 5 or 6 people, a private Q&A session. Let me know and I'll schedule it. Okay, but you know it's not going to be a large group, because if I have a question like this, then I have to go to the rating schedule, pull up, and show you exactly what's what. So if there's something that some of the subscribers or whoever, let me know and I'll set that up. Jay Green, your doctor can give you a nexus letter lining one disability causing a new one. I don't know if you responded to somebody else or if that was a question for me. Let me know. At least it's likely. Yep. Okay. Linking. I kind of figured that's what you bet. Okay, RV, what documents are recommended for supplemental claim? Okay. I received a new prescription that qualifies me for a higher percentage. Do I just give them my med list or any other documentation? Okay. When you look on the 09, I'm going to ask you, RV, have you looked at the top of VA Form 20-0995, which is a supplemental claim form, and have you read what do you need to submit with that? You need new and relevant evidence. You have to go out there and look at the 38 CFR to see the VA's definition for new and relevant evidence. I did an older video back when it was called newer material, but the concept is still the same. Basically, any evidence, treatment, complaint, new diagnosis that was not part of your claims file when your claim was adjudicated. Right? All right, Larago, my frat. Stay safe, brother. Yeah. Hey, likewise, Chad. I was down in Ruskin the other day putting up some shutters, and I was going to go out to E.G. Simmons Park to get some sandbags, and that line was bagged all the way up to 41. Man, crazy. All right, what document is recommended for increase? What document is recommended for increase of rating claim? I received a new. Okay, puts me in a higher percentage. Do I just submit my new medication? Okay. Again, in the rating decision that service connected to condition you're looking for increase, they have to tell you the requirements, requirements for the next higher percentage. I'm gonna say it again. They have to tell you the criteria for the next higher percentage. If you don't have their rating decision, you can call the 800 number at 800-827-1000 and ask them for a disability breakdown letter to include the diagnostic codes. I'll say it again. Disability breakdown letter to include the diagnostic codes. When you get that diagnostic code, you can go to the rating schedule and it'll pull up which your service connected for, and it'll tell you the criteria for 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way up to 100, depending on particular condition and how high that the percentages go. Okay. You got to know that. You got to know that. A lot of people, veterans, they go in for an increase and they haven't even educated themselves on what's the criteria for the next higher percentage. They'll say, oh, I'm having a lot of pain. And that's not the criteria for the next higher percentage. Okay. Hey, what's going on, Scrap Guy? Marine One. Hello, Dwayne. I am new to the claims process, but is it unheard of to have a CMP exam for? Okay, I think I already covered that one. Greetings, first time caller. Why does the VA? Okay, wait a minute. I think I want to make sure I'm not going backwards here. What is a C file? Okay, a C file is everything, and I don't want to grab mine right now, but it's everything that the VA has on you. Okay, so if you don't have a claim, if you never filed a claim, you don't have a claims file. Once you file a claim, then they start building it, so it'll include whatever you send them and whatever they send you. And as you go through the process, it just gets bigger, bigger, and bigger. But it's called a claims file. How do they determine when a secondary claim started, such as prediabetes, migraines, Prediabetes is not a service-connected condition. You got to have diabetes. And last time I checked, the regulation stated you had to have confirmed diagnosis. You had to have diagnosis of diabetes confirmed by 2 A1C testing. I don't know. I haven't checked that in a few months, so don't hold me to it. Migraines, neuropathy. So, any evidence to probably use what you tell them if you have any evidence of, first date of diagnosis. If not, then they'll use normally the date on the CMP exam, that particular date. If there's no other evidence showing a diagnosis for that condition. The press release today about the PACT Act, Veterans Security Secretary press conference. No, I didn't see that, Charles. I was just busy the day just trying to do some work. The hurricane was coming, so I was back and forth just making sure nothing got blown over outside. So I wasn't watching a lot of TV. Can manure disease be secondary to epilepsy and vertigo? That I don't know. I'm not a medical professional. I've never seen it claimed, but that's not to say that it can't. I'm not a medical professional, so I can't say yes or no. But I will ask you, have you Googled it? Have you looked at any, have you researched to see if there's any medical literature out there or medical studies that have been done? Okay. 0%, you can get some free meds for your allergies. Okay. Debo. Hello, Dwayne. Hope all is good on your end of the world. Yep. Just dealing with this hurricane. Always appreciate the information and knowledge you give to the vets. Keep up the amazing work, brother, man, from California. Okay. Hey, not a problem. Thank you for that. Definitely really appreciate it. I love seeing the comments, and more so, I love seeing the comments where people are just appreciative of all these free videos that you can view and good information and stuff like that. But definitely appreciate it, sir. Chris B, hey, I really appreciate that donation. Thank you so much for helping educate veterans and for all you do with your local schools. Are you going to set up a donation option to help with hurricane damage if need be? Uh, Actually, the state, I was listening, um, and the state has the governor called it something, I can't remember, to help with individuals after the hurricane. So hotel bills or some certain repairs and stuff like that. But I cannot remember the name of. They say they just open it up so people can donate there. I don't know what I'm going to do around that. I'm pretty sure after we'll be getting, local news will be saying, what we can do to help, and I'm going to see how I can, maybe donate or help. Okay, but thanks for the donation, Jay Green, Mike Kimball. Thank you for answering. Ain't not a problem. I will look at my allergy decision letter and see why I'm not 10%. There you go. It starts right there. I'm telling you. I would think PACT Act would help since I did the claim past the 10-year limit. So understand about the PACT Act, people. When they add a condition that you have been previously denied. So back in 2010, I was on the team when I was rating claims, Agent Orange claims. They added 3 conditions to the 38 CFR for the Agent Orange disposal. 38 CFR 3.309 subpart E. They added B-cell leukemia, um, been a while, coronary artery disease, it wasn't prostate cancer, Parkinson's. I can't think of the name of the third one, but veterans that had previously claimed those conditions, once those conditions became law, put on that presumptive, those veterans could go back, submit a supplemental claim, and as long as they did it within the 1 year of the date of the law change, I was granted effective dates like back to 1982. So understand what the PACT Act is and some of these effective dates. Again, these are some things I could go in a little bit more in depth in those private Q&A session with a small group of people, okay? Because we can go over the PACT Act real quick. We can do a little bit better in-depth discussion about how effective dates work. But I did a video, it's an older video, on effective dates, but it didn't cover how they look at these effective dates for the PACT Act. So just keep in mind, if you claim something as a presumptive due to Gulf War, right, and you were denied because it wasn't, Gulf War presumptive at the time, but now it is, they're going to be looking back at that original effective date or the date you filed an initial claim for that. Okay. So that's why I tell people you need to get a copy of your claims folder. Now is the time to do it. And another thing, and I'm gonna let you know this because I was thinking about this the other day, and oh wow, I just lost my place. But I was thinking about this the other day, and we got Thanksgiving coming up. And we got Christmas and New Year's coming up. You're going to have a lot of VA employees on vacation. Because guess what? The PACT Act goes in law in January, and they're going to get flooded with claims. And they're trying to train new people. Okay? So if you're dragging your feet, trying to get your claim in, as a friend of mine said, you jitter flicking around, you're going to get caught up in a hurricane. Because all this stuff is about to get, your VA is about to get hit with a lot of claims. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, Marvin Jenkins, can veterans submit claims for PFA at sites other than Camp Lejeune or presumptives? No. Well, they can, but then again, where does it fall under the 5 ways of service connection? A lot of veterans, I think they say it was something at Fort Rucker or somewhere in Alabama. Okay. That's not a presumptive. Got Agent Orange, You got Vietnam, Agent Orange, you got Gulf War, Camp Lejeune, contaminated water. There's nothing else out there for like say, oh, they had bad air at Fort Hood, Texas. It's done like that. Okay. But again, there's 5 ways of service connection. So whatever condition doesn't fall under presumptive, does it fall under one of the other 4? Benedict Turner, hello, Mr. Kimball. You're doing a fantastic job helping vets. Hey, I really appreciate it. It's my passion to do this. So I look forward to it. Ms. Williams, how will they decide a rating for my lung cancer from burn pits? I had my lower left lung, left lobe removed, and cancer is in remission. So, have you had a CMP exam? Did you get a copy of the CMP exam? Have you looked at the rating scheduler for lung cancer and see what the criteria is? That's how they're going to rate it. I don't know personally because I'm not looking at the CMP exam. So again, a lot of questions is being asked tonight. People, you gotta look at, just look at what you're claiming. Go to the rating schedule and pick out your condition. Look at the criteria. But even before that, where does it fall under the 5 ways of service connection? How do you qualify for that? Okay. Some of my past training, I took people through how to find a rating schedule, how to read it, how to look at some of the diagnostic code criteria, how to research the M21 to help you get to the 38 CFR and other court cases. Okay. So when I do this training, you guys got to sign up because it's some valuable training. Okay. In the private Q&A yesterday, I could have took you to the respiratory, showed you the criteria for the lung cancer and talked about it. And then you could have started your search there and you could have felt better, especially if you had upcoming CMP exam. But again, what does it look like on that DBQ for lung cancer? Because if it's in remission, they're going to rate off the residuals. So in the rating schedule and under the diagnostic code, it'll say lung cancer, whatever type of cancer, rate under whatever residuals. You got to know what those residuals are. It could be a PFT test that you have to take, pulmonary function test. Okay. What is the criteria for FEV, DLCO, continuous oxygen, a lot of stuff like that. And it's all in the rating schedule. Okay. Hi, Dwayne. Thanks for all you do. Hey, I appreciate it. Ridiculopity. Charles, I can't remember. I think the last thing that you said was about the press conference. Hey, thanks for the donation. Great info. Not trying to be funny. Those storms in Florida is the only reason I could never live there. It's like having to jump around financial wait a minute. Fiscality ever. Okay. Not understand. But anyway, the last one that we had was financially. I'm trying to think. Yeah, the last one we had was August 2017. And we just moved in a house, probably been here maybe 5 months. It is a little bit scary, because you got to track it. So we've been a lot of family like, hey, you guys okay? They've been calling all day. You got to make sure you have batteries. You got to make sure you have flashlights. You got to, make sure you keep things charged up. I have a outdoor kitchen where I got a grill, charcoal grill. Got gas burners where I can connect propane tanks, stuff like that. So, it's like when I lived in Chicago, you had to always make sure you had de-icer in your car. You always had to make sure you had, your snowblower service. So things like that. But I definitely, I can understand that. Raymond Broadway. Should we ask for a copy of the CMP information before we leave the appointment? I don't think they'll give it to you. But again, go in there with a DBQ. I did a mock CMP exam with an employee of mine, and we went through question line by line. Okay. I don't think they will. If you do, they'll say, oh, the VA will make a decision. If you at that exam, that doctor is the one that's making that decision, not the rater. They don't want to tell you that because Next question you're going to ask, what medical opinion are they going to give me? And they're going to say, oh, well, I don't know. They're going to put it back on the radar. Okay. But I got some videos coming out that I think will help you understand that. Bob T, let's see. Lymphoma and blue button stage lymphoma in my blue button stage 1 by VA doc in July. D214 include Afghanistan. Assuming that's Bahrain, Iraq, Qatar. Counties plus lymphoma per PACT Act is presumptive. Appears clean cut at 100%. Am I missing anything? Yeah. What is the criteria for that? And do you meet it? And if you need documentation to show evidence that you meet it, do you have that? Okay. Life lessons. I have a CMP exam Monday for Gulf War illness, mostly to get an exam. My PCP won't even test me or have me tested. So, what conditions are you claiming for Gulf War illness? Wonder Washington. My husband got 100% on his bladder cancer. Can you claim more, or is it even worth it to claim anything else? Well, it depends. It'd be totally up to you. But again, any cancer is not permanent unless your doctor says it's terminal. Okay. And if it's terminal, you qualify to get your claim expedited. Okay. But that would need evidence. Now, once that cancer goes into remission, they're gonna before they get like every 6 months or 12 months, they may schedule a routine future exam to see if that cancer is in remission or not. Okay. The way to get ahead of that, if it's not in remission, sending paperwork in saying, hey, my cancer, like maybe every, if what the date of the routine future exam is, and if you have a copy of your claims folder, it'll say it on the rating code sheet. What is a rating code sheet? I got one of those videos on my YouTube channel. So if it goes into remission, Wanda, they will have to rate on the residuals. So again, what is the diagnostic code for that cancer? When you find it, it'll say 100% for treatment, active, cancer, maybe some other options. Then it'll say otherwise rate on residuals under, they'll give another diagnostic code. When you go to that residual diagnostic code, then you'll see the criteria. Okay. I know some, they don't even have residuals. They'll just say either 100%. If it's active, if it's not active, then it's 0%. Okay. Don West, does LHI normally do CMP exams for peripheral neuropathy over the phone? I don't. I don't work for LHI, so I wouldn't know the answer to that question. I know some exams that they do, but if it's just for that condition, there's hundreds of doctors that work for LHI. So you may have some that will do a DBQ, not necessarily peripheral neuropathy, but you may have some that will, and then some that won't. But looking at that DBQ, they have to do reflex testing. You can't do that over the phone. James, my dad was awarded 100% from a prostate cancer diagnosis caused by Agent Orange exposure. He would like to know if the benefit goes away after his prostate is removed. They will rate on the residuals. Okay. And again, that's why I want to start doing these small classes, because then I can show you the diagnostic code for prostate cancer. Then it'll say rate under these residuals. And when you go to those residuals and they do that proposal to reduce, you'll know what those residuals are. Okay. So when you go to that exam, you'll know, hey, I wear absorbent materials. I avoid this many times during the day. Avoid this many times during the night. Those are just some of the residuals. Okay. Thank you, Bob. Definitely appreciate the super sticker and the support. I have a lot of symptoms. Some are already service connected. Should I still mention the service connected disabilities at the CMP exam? Why? If you're service connected for the back and you're going in there for ringing in the ears, tinnitus, why bring up the back? But again, that would be up to you. When I went to some of my CMP exams, if they didn't have any of those conditions, didn't have anything to do what I was service connected for, I didn't bring it up. But again, if you want to, that would be up to you. But I wouldn't see a reason why you would. Charles, can you file directly if it's not documentation and service record of an injury with buddy letters and it actually benefit the veteran? Yeah, you can submit buddy letters even though it wasn't documented service. I just did one for a gentleman I was stationed with. We got reclassified at Fort Sill, and then we PCS to Germany, and we was in the same section. So I had wrote him one for sleep apnea. Now I wasn't documented, but I wrote, I think it was like two and a half paragraphs, short. It wasn't no 5 pages, 10 pages. But you want somebody to write a lay statement, that length, fine. But I kept it short, and I just explained when we were getting reclassified for SEAL, we shared a barracks room. We had a 2-man room, and it was just unbearable. He was snoring and then falling asleep, nodding off in class the next day. And then when we got to Germany, we go out on field maneuvers. He was snoring in the tent. So we were like, hey, look, you pulling the first guard duty, okay? Because we know if we got him up at 1:00, he's going to be dead tired and snoring even louder, and we wouldn't get any sleep, okay? But yeah, you could do that, buddy statement. Intent to file November 2021, April 2022. I got tinnitus and PTSD approved. August, I put in secondary sleep apnea from PTSD. Got 50, not tally at 70. Next week, I will get 70% benefit. Do I get back pay? I don't know. It's going to depend on the effective dates. Okay. Again, looking at the other rating decisions, the current rating decision, and all the other evidence that's in there. They may see something, facts found. Again, look at the video I did on explaining the different types of effective dates. And again, I get a lot of questions where people are asking me, and I just don't know because I'm not looking at that information, the evidence in your claims file, and have to look at all of it because that's the only way you're going to get a correct answer. Okay, I can give you some hypotheticals, but that's not going to help. I have to look at not the entire claims file, but from when you file that claim up until now to determine what the effective date should be. Okay. Are you eligible to apply for your Social Security disability and use GI benefit if you're 100% PNT? Social Security is outside of the VA. Never worked at Social Security, never applied for it. The GI Bill, yes, you can still use your GI Bill. But as it pertains to Social Security, I'm only talking about the VA compensation benefits section. I know people that are Social Security experts, a couple of judges, but that's not my field expertise. I'm sorry, sir. Sorry, Walt. Stephen Phillips, should I get another sleep study if it's over 10 years? Yes. File high-level review and website says correcting error. Issues currently on appeal. They told me they needed clarification from doctor. Any idea about time frame? No. There's no any regular rating decision. Anything that the VA does is no set time frame. None. Okay. No set time frame. A lot of people ask me, hey, how long is it going to take? Seeing claims get done in a week, seeing claims be a year and a half long, 2 months, 6 months. Every claim is different. Okay. Okay, North Carolina, I see you. Have you heard of a link between flat feet and pelvic spine alignment? Yes. But again, I'm not a medical doctor. Google it. Whatever you're claiming, whatever condition you're claiming is secondary to a service connected condition, Google it and just see, if there's any connection that could be. Now, you could Google it and see it, claim it, and the doctor can deny it and say there's no connection. Then you have to fight it. Not saying that they will. Okay. But at least for peace of mind, and something to talk about when you get to that CMP exam, you've already done your research on that. Good evening, sir. Do we need a nexus for a secondary condition of diabetes to sleep apnea as a primary? Wow. I've never seen that one before. Diabetes secondary to sleep apnea. Yes. I will say yes. Looking for clarification on needs and pain with motion. Is pain for motion correctly rated at 10%, or is it 10% for pain on extension and or 10% for pain on flex? Hey, good question. Now, you actually can be service connected for extension and flexion, but pain is going to fall under one of those. And then you could be instability as well. So it could be multiple diagnostic codes for the knee. But yeah, normally if you see 10%, it could be for pain. But again, get the CMP exam because more than likely you probably have some type of reduced range of motion for the knee. Full range of motion for flexion for the knee is 140 degrees. So if it's at 135, 130, 135, just for an example, with pain, that's going to be 10%. Okay. DK, I have 50% PTSD, Gulf War, Marine, thinking about high level review for higher rating. How do I find what they put in my PTSD claim to add up to 50? I'm kind of confused. I understand the question, but I'm a little bit confused. If you're already service connected for 50% PTSD, what is the reason for the high level review? That's what I'm confused on. How do I find what they put in my PTSD claim to add up to 50%? The CMP exam. And also look at the general rating criteria for the mental conditions. When you see that, and then you look at the DBQ, you can see how the 50% came about. Okay. What is the safest way to change TDIU to PNT? Obviously, you're not 100%. So if you did an increase and they got you over the 95% threshold, they would grant the PNT part. But you know what? No, I take that back. Scrap that. If you are already TDIU, when they grant TDIU, either they have to either do a routine future on one of those conditions and or grant chapter 35, which is PNT. So I'm assuming that you're asking, how do you get 100% PNT to override the TDIU? Because 100% PNT is the greater benefit between the two. That's what I think you're asking. Yep. Want to start my own business, but there's a financial gap. Yep. So looking at what you're service connected for, where does that add up? You got to be at least 70% or one disability. I think, at 60. And there's some other criteria. But if you're 80%, what do you have to get you to 100? Is it possible increase, secondary, new claim, something that you hadn't claimed? So that's going to be a discussion. Oh man, we only got 39 likes and 138 people in here. Come on now. Y'all show me some love. All right, Life Lessons. Thanks for all the great info. No problem. Make sure you get educated. Look at that diagnostic code criteria. Go into that exam. Verify. I did a video on this. Verify what exams are you showing up for. Look at the DBQ. I had some clients take the DBQs in there with them and say, hey, doc, wait a minute. You didn't ask me this. You didn't ask me that. Oh, I'm going to fill it out later. But you got to ask me the questions first for you to fill it out. You got to hold those examiners accountable. They're just rushing you in there and rushing you out, and putting the blame on the rater. All right, so a little bit over an hour. I'm going to take one more. It's the last questions. Blessed by God. If the VA doctor stated total and social occupational with mental health, can the rater, I'm assuming that's what you're saying, rater disagree with VA doctor and medical records? Yes, especially with a mental. I rated some claims where the CMP exam came back and it showed 70%. But there was other evidence in the veterans claims folder that showed he warned 100%. Now, when I did that rating, I had to explain why I granted that 100% outside of the CMP exam that shows 70. And I did that not only on certain mental conditions, but on some other ones. Now, I've seen where it should be 70, not should be, but where it was 70 and other evidence showing that it should be 50. Okay. So some raters can go down, but they have to explain why they did that. Okay. And I'm going to give you a quick example of when this and how this has happened. Veterans go to a private doctor, get a DBQ done, submit it, but they get treatment at the VA for PTSD or mental condition. And it says something totally different than that CMP exam. And some raters get it, and man, they just tear it to shreds. It's confusing, and it ends up bad for the vet. Now, I'm not saying that always happens because you got hundreds of raters out there. They're not all the same. Okay. Normally, when I rate it, if the exam came back 100%, you're getting 100%. Came back 70%, you're getting 70%. Came back 50%, you're getting 50%. But if it didn't come back at 100%, I always made sure to look through the file to see if there was any evidence that would allow me to increase that. Okay. But again, that's me. Maybe a lot of new raters are not doing it. Maybe a lot of old raters are not doing it. Okay. It just depends on the rater. All right. So we're going to go ahead and shut it down. Everyone, nobody did let me know if they wanted me just to do a small private Q&A session, like 5 people, to get a little bit more detail with these questions. So I will not be scheduling that unless somebody, people start leaving me comments or something like that. I'll schedule it again. All right. So if I didn't get to your question tonight, again, this is only for an hour. But you know what? I'll stay on for a couple more minutes because I want to see somebody let me know how many likes do we have. Okay. Okay. Can somebody tell Stephen Williams what my phone number is? Okay. Somebody tell him, I'm sorry, he or her, I do apologize, what my phone number is. I'm going to give you a hint. Look at the ticker down at below. Okay. Thanks for your help. Are migraines under the PACT Act? I don't think that they are. I could be wrong. I don't have all of them memorized. Okay. That's why you have to go and look at I did a video on that, and I showed the list of it. But the VA came out with, if you look at that video, I have some on there, but also you'll see the link and you can go there and look at all the new ones. Okay, I'm just going through some of these questions. All right, so we only got 105, 104, 105. Okay. All right. Okay. Boss a cap. Okay. See you back. Love your work, Dwayne. Keep on keeping us informed, simplified. Not a problem. Not a problem. Thank you for the support. All right. All right. So it's that time. Said he's interested. So we'll have to see. I'll have to see. I know it's that time. We did a private Q&A before, and even some of my training sessions. But I haven't picked a topic for the next roundtable next month. We're looking for a guest speaker now. But again, go out to the website. There's a lot of information there. I'll put the link to the website in the comment box. And there's just, some testimonials there and some of the other educational services that I provide. Okay. Yep, there it is. There it is. Somebody put it up there for me. All right, one last question. Then I'm gonna get out of here. Can your disability be reduced or depression if medication gives you any relief? Look at the criteria. And under the general rating criteria for mental condition, you'll see the one for medication. But look at the criteria. And when will the VA know if you got relief or you don't no longer meet that? Okay. Somebody asked a question earlier about auditing, going back and auditing, so go back and look at that. Okay. So again, I can tell, by some of the questions that a lot of people are not educated on some of the basic stuff. And that's okay because I'm here to educate. Okay. Don't worry about it. If you're not educated, don't worry about it. Some of the people, and I'm gonna call them out because they give me a lot of support. Annette Baker, It's That Time, uh, Chris Hawkins. He doesn't come on as much, but they all went through some of my training. Town hall I had a couple of years ago, and you get a lot of wealth, a lot of uh, knowledge, a wealth of knowledge in these trainings. Okay, so when I say a lot of people are not educated, I don't mean to be condescending. That's okay because at some point I was uneducated. Okay, so I'm here to educate you. All right. So again, find out the basics. Some of the videos that I did, you want to look at 5 ways of service connection. Okay, what are the 5 ways of service connection? Start there. Then what is step 2? I did 2 series. One last year. This time last year, September, October 2021. And I think the year before that, it was in June of 2020. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the process. Go to my YouTube channel, do a search for a particular, put in just a name, routine future exam, step 1, step 2 of the VA claims process. Those videos will come up, look at them. I'm trying to keep my videos, anywhere between 10 to 14 minutes. Some run over a little bit. So that way, you're not looking at a 30 or 40-minute video. Okay. So with that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button. I'm going to get out of here, go check on my wife. We got to make a round outside, make sure nothing has blown off because I do hear some high winds. So again, thanks for joining me tonight. The next live Q&A session is another 2 weeks, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday. Thank you.